It's every serious enthusiast's secret dream to be given the chance to create a no-compromise automobile. A car designed solely to serve the needs of the driver. A car that's as capable on the racetrack as on the road. A car built with just one goal in mind: performance. Some 30 years ago, a team of young BMW engineers was given that challenge: create what would become to be known as the M cars. But it wouldn't turn out to be an easy task. For even though the Bavarian Motor Works enjoyed a long tradition of building fine automobiles and pioneering innovative concepts, there were many within the company who didn't believe that performance was the future direction BMW should take. As the man who headed the program at the time, Bob Lutz, quickly discovered.
Strangely enough, there wasn't a real consensus on that at BMW at the time. There was some feeling that, no, we need to become more dignified and move away from that boy racer image. And, luckily the view that we had to continue racing prevailed. But I'll tell you, not without considerable resistance at times. It wasn't always easy. You'd think BMW, everybody would say, oh yeah, that's a no-brainer, but it wasn't.
The motorsport team's first challenge was to win the European Touring Car Championship. And to do that, they created the 3.0 CSL, a car that stirred immediate controversy with its powerful motor, radical aerodynamics, and clear message of speed.
And that made for a car that was very quickly dubbed the Batmobile. And it hit the market right at the peak of the anti-automobile movement in Germany. It was in about 1973 under the Willy Brandt administration, which of course was socialist. And the general press and the nation's television stations were all over BMW for producing this obscene high-performance automobile, which was further going to encourage irresponsible driving and wasting the world's scarce resources. Remember, it was right after the first energy crisis. So this was one of those product programs in my career that did not necessarily enhance my career.
Despite the controversy, the 3.0 CSL went on to enjoy an outstanding career, winning 6 European Touring Car Championships. Next came the 320i, and Motorsport's job was to show it to be a worthy successor to the beloved 2002. And the car quickly proved itself on the racetrack, going on to become the winningest touring car of the era. Then, BMW Motorsport moved on to a new challenge: build a BMW supercar that could compete head-to-head on the racetrack with the likes of Porsche and Ferrari. It was to be based upon this striking turbocharged show car that appeared at the Munich Olympics and would be called the M1. But there was one little problem. In order to race the M1, BMW Motorsport also had to build 400 road versions. And the then small company didn't yet have the manufacturing capacity to do that. So a deal was struck with the Italian coachmaker Lamborghini to build the bodies. But right from the start, the alliance ran into problems. And when it became clear that production deadlines couldn't be met, BMW Motorsport director Jochen Nierpasch fell under increasing pressure to get the M1 on the racetrack. He responded by coming up with one of the most innovative racing series ever: the Pro Cars. The idea: put the world's best Formula One drivers in identical M1s and have them race head-to-head at the top Grand Prix events. With sizable prize money and very big egos on the line, the Pro Cars were an instant hit, providing some of the best racing of the 1979 and 1980 Grand Prix seasons, with Niki Lauda winning the first championship and Nelson Piquet the second. Meanwhile, work on the road M1 continued, but by the time 400 were finally completed, a new set of rules had been instituted, which put the car at a significant disadvantage. Even so, it was able to hold its own against its newer and more powerful rivals. But it was a different story in the USA, where the M1 dominated International Motorsports Association GTO competition. In 1982, BMW made its Formula One debut. Based upon a tiny 1.5-liter production block, the M-Power F1 motor combined a turbocharger with a revolutionary new engine management system to produce well over 1,000 horsepower, making it the most powerful Grand Prix motor ever built. Victory would come in just the car's 5th race, a stunning 1-2 sweep of the Grand Prix of Canada. The next season, the M-powered Brabham BT52 with Nelson Piquet at the wheel won the most prestigious title in all of motorsport, the Formula One World Championship. Meanwhile, the BMW Motorsport team had been hard at work applying the lessons learned from racing to create a series of special high-performance production automobiles, the M-Cars. Road cars that would embody race car technology. One of the first was the M6, a limited edition 6 Series coupe. The sales brochure promised one test drive and you'll have that special gleam in your eye. And one man who took the M6 for a test drive was 3-time World Formula One champion Nelson Piquet.
Well, let's go for a quick lap. Oh, you better put your seatbelts on because we are in a very powerful car and it's quite dangerous here in Puerto. Well, I think one of the most nice sensation, I think, is to drive a racing car. And better than a racing car, is to drive a car, a comfortable car that you can drive every day and have nearly the same power of a racing car. It's not only the power is important, but also the handling of the car. If you have a good engine, a lot of speed, you need to have a good brakes and good handling. Really. Okay, we're in the straight again. I was a little bit quiet because I have to concentrate sometimes. And then the straight, we go about 106, 170 in a quick corner. It looks like really the same performance of a racing car. You don't feel wind noise, you don't feel bumps, and that's a good thing.
The original M5 came in just one color, black. Its stealth exterior designed to disguise its true identity. For the top speed of this nice, practical 4-door family sedan was over 150 miles per hour. The cars were hand-built at the Motorsport facility and fitted with 24-valve 3.5-liter M-Power motors that produced 256 horsepower. But the M5 and M6 were just the beginning, for next came this machine, the M3. The M3's design concept was a simple one, a sedan that could run with the world's best sports cars, which gave the motorsport engineers a chance to build an authentic German hot rod and then show what it could do on the racetrack. And on the racetrack, it proved to be nothing short of sensational, winning the European Touring Car Championship in its very first season of competition, and going on to win over 1,500 races, including an impressive string of victories in grueling 24-hour contests at Belgium's Spa circuit and Germany's famed Nürburgring. By the end of its production run, the first-generation M3 had captured some 100 international racing championships and proved itself to be the most successful touring car of all time. If there's a secret to the remarkable success of the M-Cars, it's under the hood, where you'll find M-Power, for strong, reliable motors have always been the heart and soul of BMW.
The BMW, only like the Ferrari, had that heart at Le Mans. Tremendous speed on that straightaway, all thanks to some characteristic which an engineer could explain to you. I can't, but to a driver it sort of translates as some kind of a heart.
I tell you, I have to think that the secret of BMW's success in their racing engines is Paul Roscher. He's been with the company for years and years, and he's always been their chief engine development guy, and he obviously just have an absolute magic touch with small displacement, small number of cylinder engines.
But the M-Power engineers also showed they could work their magic on much larger engines as well, coming up with an exotic 5-liter V12 that was chosen to power the fastest and most expensive road car ever built, the McLaren F1 supercar.
The engine's pretty unique. It's the most powerful large capacity, normally aspirated engine made, yet from a specific output point of view, that is horsepower per cc. It's rather like having 10 VW Golf engines in a car that weighs just over a ton.
Not only was the McLaren F1 the fastest road car in the world, it proved to be the fastest on the racetrack, finishing first overall in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Next came BMW's own supercar, the V12 LMR, a prototype that won both the 24 Hours of Le Mans and the 12 Hours of Sebring in the same year. By now, an all-new M3 had been developed, and unlike its cafe racer predecessor, this was a sophisticated and comfortable high-performance GT car.
The most interesting aspect of the M cars to me was that for a very long time they were tightly focused on a very small group of people, and very successfully so, and those cars have fabulous reputations and are very desirable. But when they did a North American M3, and all of a sudden that little group just grew exponentially, and now suddenly we got this army of people who want to drive M coupes and M3 series, and one thing I'm just astonished at how that car took off, and the kind of message that it seems to give to a much broader audience than it ever did before.
Still, this new M3 also had to deliver on the racetrack, and the motorsport team was determined to have it compete in as stock production trim as possible.
We use virtually all of the parts are production parts, except for the pistons and the camshaft. Everything else is production. The block, the heads, the crank, the rods, the bearings. So when you look at the cars and you look at the fenders and you look at the doors, other than accommodating wider tires, everything is original BMW.
The production-based M3 not only proved that it could run with a special race-built competition, it rolled up a string of 16 straight victories, including back-to-back wins in the 24 Hours of Daytona, and went on to capture the U.S. Professional Sports Car Championship, the U.S. Road Racing Championship, as well as the American Le Mans Series Championship. And in the Speed World Challenge Series, the M3 has been dominant, a big winner in both the Touring and GT categories, outrunning the far more powerful Corvettes, Vipers, and Porsches in the process. Yet what's impressed the drivers most isn't the incredible performance of the M3 on the racetrack. It's just how much it drives like the production M3 road car.
The way it turns in, the way it handles, the way it slides, they're the same. And that's pretty amazing to bring a street car right to the racetrack.
That's the nice thing, is that the characteristics of the road car really translate to the race car, and they are very similar in the overall handling balance.
The base of our cars is the street car.
From the original concept of using motorsport technology to create an elite group of high-performance road cars has now grown an entire lineup of M cars.
Those cars really talk to the enthusiast driver. You get into it and start it and poke it into gear, and you just know that you've come home. You know, it's an enthusiast dream car that's easily available. Our readers voted BMW the best car company in the world.
And there's no more avid group of automobile enthusiasts in the world than BMW owners. With competitive events held virtually every weekend, BMW Car Club of America members are able to hit the track and find out for themselves just what they and their cars can do. But the race to build the ultimate driving machines is a never-ending one, which is why BMW has returned to Formula One competition, where once again an M-Power motor has shown itself to be the most powerful in all of Grand Prix racing. For it is here, on the great racetracks of the world, that BMW Motorsport engineers are able to develop and test the technology that will go into building the M-cars of tomorrow. It hasn't always been an easy road, but when you have a burning passion to build cars that set new standards of performance and assemble a dedicated group of dreamers, engineers, craftsmen, and drivers who share that passion, anything is possible.